Here's one thing I hear from almost every private business owner we work with. We wish we were better at hiring. In fact, you don't want to just be better, you want to be an expert at hiring. For this to happen, you need to have a system. Without one, you'll just be hiring from your gut, and that never works out well. Well, most of the time it never works out well. So here's the problem with hiring great people. Hiring is hard. In fact, for many, it's so hard, they just want to give up and never hire somebody. You might be thinking, I know there must be an easy way to hire the right person the first time, every time. I get that. In fact, for years, I was there. Then I found a simple system for hiring, and that's what today's video is all about. We call this the Stage 2 hiring method. It's probably the easiest method I've ever seen for hiring new people. You don't need personality profiles. You don't need dozens of interviews. You just need an easy way to interview and decide who's the best for your company. So let's jump right in. Number one, let's start with the basics. So when we hire, there's three things we look at. We call these the can do, will do, and fit factors. Can do is technical skills. Will do is, are they willing to do the activities to be successful in the job? And three is fit factors, which are what are the things that people have to do to fit in at your company. We always start with fit factors. It's your values that count. If you have a bad values mismatch in your company, they're never going to fit in. It never works out well. You're going to try to change them. You're going to spend lots of time on it. And at the end of the day, you're most likely going to ask them to leave your company, but it's going to take you 6 months to a year to get around to doing that. So if you don't hire for your fit factors properly, you're spending a lot of time and effort trying to get the person to fit in. Number two, then look at what they must be willing to do. These are the will do factors. In other words, if you need somebody to do cold calling and they're a salesperson, they have to be willing to do a cold call and they have to be excited about doing it. And you need to figure this out during the interview process. Don't ever ask anybody in a will-do factor, are you willing to travel? Of course they're going to say yes. You must find out, say, tell me about other jobs you've had where travel was a factor. And if they can't come up with a good idea for it, you're really on kind of thin ice on whether they're going to be actually willing to do what you need them to do to be successful in the job. And then finally, it's the technical skills that count. Many jobs require certain skills. This is a screening mechanism and not a hiring decision. If you're hiring as your number one thing for technical skills, you're more than likely to come up with what I call a brilliant jerk. Brilliant jerks are people who are really good at the job. They're really good technically, but they're a disaster for your company because they just don't fit in. When you have a brilliant jerk, it's going to be really hard for you to get rid of them because you're going to come up with all sorts of justifications about why it's okay for them to drive everybody else in your company crazy. So once you've got your will do, can do, and fit factors, you know what they are. Now you want to put 5 things that would fit into each one of those characters. Under technical skills, it might be they're a good mechanic. Under will do, they have to be willing to work with their hands. And under fit factor, it might be they have personal responsibility and know how to exhibit that. You put 5 factors under each area. Now you're ready to start having your interview. So after your interviews, and during your interview, you want to make sure you elicit what people feel about each of those 5 areas, how well they're going to do for those. So you have 15 areas that you're interviewing around. Now, you do not ask somebody a direct question. It's always open-ended, so you get to hear about their experience with the will-dos and the fit factors especially. Now, in can-dos, you can ask them, well, tell me about your mechanical skills and what you're doing, or about your programming skills and how you program and where you went to school. Those are sort of, the nuts and bolts. But will-do factors and fit factors have to be open-ended questions. They have to tell you stories about each of those areas so you can get a sense whether they fit in or not. Now, after you've done that, you're going to rate each one of those issues on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. So now you have your scales and you've got your ratings and you've got your numbers in there. So you want to weight the ratings as follows. You do 3 times for fit factors, 2 times for will-do activities, and 1 time for can-do. So for example, if somebody has a 9 on fit factors, they get 27 points. If they have a 9 on will-do factors, they get 18 points. If they have a 9 on can-do factors, they have 9 points. You add up all the points and you get a score. So now as you're looking at several candidates, you can look at the scores. But most of the time, that's not even going to be necessary, because the best candidates that you have are going to be the best fit for your company, are just going to jump off the page. You know, there's one thing I've noticed in the world is that there's tons of things we could notice, but we don't unless it's in front of us. And having these things written down will do that. I don't know if you noticed this. Say you had a silver car and you traded in your silver car and you bought a red car, or you went from a Ford to a Toyota. You're going to notice all of a sudden there's a zillion red cars around that never existed before, or a zillion Toyotas that never existed before. It's just that you put that in your consciousness because you're using it, and now you notice it. Same thing when you're hiring if you use our fit factor, will do, can do grid. So there you are. This is the easiest and simplest method of hiring I've ever seen. So here are 3 things I would like you to do. First, download and read our ebook on effective hiring. That's hiring for unique abilities. 2, use our Stage 2 workbook to put together the traits you're looking for in the hiring. It'll give you a description of how you rate somebody. And number 3, use a system and hire the right person. If you don't use a system, you're never going to get the results. So if you're interested in hearing how simple it is to have a great hiring system, set a time to talk with me. If you're not ready to talk, just click on the button below and download our free ebook on effective hiring techniques. If you do all the suggestions in this video, here's what you're going to get. You stop only occasionally hiring well and move to a place where you hire the right person the first time, every time. Now that you're on the road to being a hiring ninja yourself, why don't you scroll down and let me know what you think about using a simple hiring system process that works. Hey, this is Josh Patrick. You're at The Sustainable Business. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope to see you back here really soon.